That video could be the entire segment. I could watch it again and again. Despite advancements in gender equality, research reveals that the dream gap persists for young girls, not due to inherent self-confidence issues, but rather societal biases and stereotypes. As parents, how can we actively combat this dream gap and dismantle the biases that limit our daughters' aspirations and achievements? Joining me at the Parents Happy Hour table this morning is attorney-at-law, blogger, and mother, Licia Gay Taylor, of course.
Hi, Licia.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm happy to be here. This time we were talking about girls. I live with girls.
Yes, yeah, I thought this was an important conversation for you to be a part of as well, seeing as you have raised two wonderful women, and you are raising two young, wonderful women.
Yes.
We have one, but as I say, we really have to really start looking at this or continue to look at this. That's actually something that I believe Barbie, the company, put out,
correct.
Which is great because Barbie has always shown us
stereotypical women.
Well, you know,
but they have changed.
Yes, they went into having Barbie astronauts, Barbie scientists.
Yes, because Jordan has a whole slew of different Barbies.
You know what, I'm amazed by the fact that when we go to university, there are more women than men.
So
when I studied, mostly women were there.
I'm glad you brought that up because when I was thinking about this is one area that Jamaica can actually be proud of. I think it's a 2015 study, and I don't know what the stats is now, but an International Labour Organization study showed that Jamaica was actually leading the world in having more women leaders and managers. So we are a step ahead of the game. So you're right, because thankfully for our daughters, they will see women in managerial positions, and that is important. At the very top, though, we still have it more men, but women tend to be more middle managers and in areas like HR and communications. But women are certainly leading the pack. In Jamaica, I think it's like 59.3%. So we are ahead of the game because there are some countries where it's like 2.1%. I think
I'm curious to know how you handle this at home as well. Like, you know, because the dream gap goes both ways. So, for example, you know, I was saying to you earlier, it goes for boys as well, in the sense that we're not saying to little boys, oh, you can become a nurse. Oh, you get what I'm saying? We're sticking to the roles that we think that they should. Similarly, we're not telling little girls that they can become scientists. So how do you have these conversations now in your home when your daughter says to you, Mommy, I want to be, you know, I don't know, something that's an astronaut, something that we're not, a truck driver.
Well, right now she wants to be a boss. It doesn't, she's not sure which area, she just knows she wants to be a boss. And it's, in my house though, we have all sorts of toys. If a boy comes over, girl is there, she has the excavators, you said construction, she has all of those toys, she has racing cars, and she switches because sometimes she wants to be a police officer like her dad, and sometimes she thinks, I want to be a lawyer too, when she don't want me to feel too bad. So it's trying to make sure that the possibilities are endless. She can be whatever she wants to be. There is this obsessed game that all kids are with now, it's Roblox. Oh, yes. And one of the things that they do is they build, you know, they can construct different buildings. And so her dad is always encouraging her, is like, you can be an architect or you can be an engineer with all these things you create. So it's showing that, you know, you could be whatever you want to be. And I am thankful that even in my own workspace, she sees a lot of women leaders. So she sees Auntie C and she goes, Auntie C is your boss? And I'm like, yes, she's the CEO. And that's Sidella Merle. And she goes, oh, I want to be like Auntie C. And then I tell her, you know, I said, you know, we celebrate Bob Marley, but, you know, his wife is why we're here, because she had the vision to turn this space into a museum. And she bought Tough Gang and she goes, oh, well, I want to be like Nana Rita. So she's seen women in leadership roles. She's seen them as CEOs. She's seen them as business thinkers, strategic, not just in our nurturing role. And I think that's important because a lot of times we think of women as just being nurturers and caregivers. And even in the organization, the men are the more strategic thinkers and we're the ones, you know, sort of mothering the flock. And we want to step out of that and show that we can do both roles.
It's an and.
Yes.
It's not an either or. You know,
Exactly.
because there is that part of ourselves that we, I mean, and I think that's also something that, you know, there's a large gap on. Not every mother is a nurturing, you know, like, that's not how it always works.
That's a part of the stereotype
exactly,
too.
that's part of it, yeah. You know, I think...
And males play roles, I mean, in nurturing roles. So yesterday I saw a video, a young man, he has 2 daughters, and he was on the video combing hair. And let me tell you something, he did it so well. I mean, it neat. He showed us the finished product. And I was so proud. I was saying, I'm happy to see that that's happening now, which is why I'm thinking that the discussion now about dream gap and stereotypes, I thought it was changing. I thought the outlook was different now for the balance, you know, but obviously there are still some...
It's definitely changing, but you know, we all also sometimes, like you said, you know, we can even fall prey to the trap, you know.
What we tell them.
I don't let my, you know, like the other day, so now we have dolls at home, for example, a lot of babies, and I'm always surprised to see that the boys are just as interested to be like the baby, and I'm like, absolutely, because this is what's going to make you also be a good father one day. And so why shouldn't you be allowed to do this as well? You know, but it's not a natural thought. Did you buy trucks for the girls and dinosaurs for them when they were growing up?
That is true. I mean, we still do some of the stereotypical stuff.
We do.
You know, but what we tell them and what I have told my daughters all growing up, you know, are to go against the stereotypes, you know, to be leaders, you know, you can do it too. You are the boss. I call my older daughter the CEO. You're the CEO. You're the owner of businesses, you know. True.
I want to talk about the role of education, like to come back to that a little bit, and you know, just how that can be such a source of confidence for young women.
Yes. Well, I understood from very early that education was important because my mom is a teacher, and I remember she always tells us that the reason she has gotten to that point is because it's through education. She was in a community where a lot of women took another direction, and so I understood that, and I tried to impress that again upon Jordan. I tell her, you know, pretty alone don't cut it. We smart too, and we make sure we focus on our studies, because education is what gets you to that space. Going through and not stopping necessarily at, you know, primary, secondary, but tertiary education. There is nothing more confident than being in a room where you're able to represent yourself, present yourself. And so, you know, it's important for us to have our girls do that, but also not just in the traditional roles again. It's also, Jordan loves math, to my dismay, but to her father's pleasure. And so it's encouraging her to continue along that path and thinking about what do you want to do. She likes to do experiments, taking them along the paths of scientific education, showing them. I buy her things and we do experiments as well. So it's not just telling her, you know, lawyer, teacher, the nurses, but it's also, it's fine if you want to go be an engineer and if you want to focus on that, if you want to do coding. She loves to play games, so Garfield always tells her, you know, you could actually do coding and actually make games that people could play, and she's fascinated by that. She's like, so I could come up with my own game. So it's showing them that there are other ways outside of the traditional rules, and that's important. And especially in today's society, our girls, well, everybody has to keep up with technology and where AI is going, and the fact that it will make a lot of traditional jobs no longer relevant. So we have to focus on education.
Yeah, absolutely.
And self-confidence, you know, esteem issues.
Creating supportive environments.
Mentorship is also important.
Very important. And we'll see the gap close. We'll see the dream gap close for our girls. We'll see the dream gap close or change for our boys, hopefully as well, where, you know, we can just start to see us moving out of our traditional, like, you know, what everybody expects us to do. You know, maybe we'll see more stay-at-home dads.
Well, it's funny because millennial dads are actually stepping up, and there are studies that show that they are much better dads than the baby boomers and Gen X. They're more actively involved.
I mean,
but they're actively, you see men actively involved. When I do school pickups now, there are lots of dads dads there. When you go to Parent Teachers Association, there are lots of dads present. So men are stepping up.
Listen, men's, they're having their names on birth certificates now.
Yeah.
Listen,
don't laugh.
When I did a research back then, it was not the standard, right?
That's true.
Yeah. So those things are changing. I have to highlight and amplify and big up those things. Yes,
I'm always so happy to have you here to have these conversations. I know we talk about other things when you're here, but this was a great conversation.
I love this, yes.
And I definitely we want to have, again, you certainly are closing the gap all the time at your home with your girls, making sure that they're exposed, supported, loved, and you're the best role model, you and Garfield. So
thank you.
And I'm taking lessons. I'm taking lessons. Anyway, that was attorney at law and the blogger. May I go put in the blogger, we feel like mother as well. Licia Gay Taylor. Wags is up after the break.
That's Tami's segment.
No, you're gonna be right there with me.